Welcome back to Hannity as we continue to vet the president. Now, for years, liberals have relentlessly picked apart comments that are made by conservatives, all in an attempt to paint them as uneducated, not fit to serve in public office. But tonight, we're going to turn the tables, and we want you to play along. Now, we have compiled a list of some of the most ridiculous examples, things that politicians have said, and put together a little game that we'd like to call, well, Name That Politician and Vet the President. Our contestants tonight are the co-host of The Five, Andrea Tantaros, and Fox News contributor Monica Crowley. All right, so just you have ABC.
We do.
For the questions. And this is important. Right. This is our own version of a game show.
Okay, we're ready.
Music. We don't need music. Who needs music?
We're ready.
This is important stuff. Now, which politician said the following, that over the last 15 months we've traveled to every corner of the United States, and I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. A, George Bush, B, Sarah Palin, and C, Barack Obama.
Okay. If we get this wrong, Tantaros, we are pathetic. This is C, Barack Obama.
You are correct.
Yes.
Right,
ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. All right, now, the thing is, liberals always say that, conservatives, Dan Quayle wasn't smart, George Bush wasn't smart. All right, here's the soundbite.
Over the last 15 months, we've traveled to every corner of the United States. I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go.
How? All right, now we get to that question number 2. Now, we've been a little bit lazy, I think, over the last couple of decades. We've kind of taken for granted, well, people who want to come here, and we aren't out there hungry, selling America, trying to attract new business into America. So, George Bush, Sarah Palin.
Barack Obama. We've gotten lazy. We've gotten soft.
All right.
Yes.
I think my 3-year-old nephew, who's an avid Fox watcher, could get this right.
Don't do that, Andrea, because the questions will get harder. You're going to jinx us.
Over the last couple of decades, we've kind of taken for granted, well, people will want to come here, and we aren't out there hungry selling America and trying to attract new businesses into America.
All right, that's 2 for 2, both of you. All right.
I score this way in algebra.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to take it twice.
You got to take it twice?
Algebra 1 twice.
Wow.
Not
all right.
a math genius.
Question 3, which politician said the following? It was also interesting to see that political interaction in Europe is not that different from the United States Senate. There's a lot of, well, I don't know what the term is in Austrian wheeling and dealing.
Austrian.
George Bush, Sarah Palin.
Brand new language, Austrian.
There is no Austrian language.
Right, it doesn't exist.
Are you sure? Is this your final answer?
I'm positive.
Positive?
Let me phone
final
a friend.
Answer?
Just kidding. See.
All right, let's roll the tape.
It was also interesting to see that political interaction in Europe is not that different from the United States Senate. There's a lot of, I don't know what the term is in Austrian, wheeling and dealing.
Austrian. A language that doesn't exist.
He just created it.
All right, 3 for 3, but the next question.
He's so smart.
Oh, conservatives are dumb. I mean, only liberals are geniuses. And you notice the media doesn't really highlight these little errors. And I wonder if they do the same thing for George W. Bush. Or Sarah Palin.
Please.
Double standard. All right, question 4. We only have 5 questions. All right, question 4. On this Memorial Day, as our nation honors its unbroken line of fallen heroes, and I see many of them in the audience here today, our sense of patriotism is particularly strong. George Bush, Sarah Palin,
Barack Obama. Talking about final answer, fallen heroes in front of him.
A theme here.
You think there's a theme here?
Yeah.
Also, our C cards are getting quite a workout.
On Memorial Day, you can see people. I see many of you here. All right, let's roll the tape. The answer is.
On this Memorial Day, as our nation honors its unbroken line of fallen heroes, and I see many of them in the audience here today, our sense of patriotism is particularly strong.
Wait.
4 for 4.
Right.
I see dead people.
Yeah, basically. Well, you know what's
unbelievable.
Does the President of the United States not know the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day? Apparently not. Now, just like when the President, and this is not one of our questions, said over and over again in one speech, Navy corpsman, because he's reading the teleprompter. He doesn't know what a Navy corpsman is?
Right, but Sarah Palin was supposed to be the idiot, right? George W. Bush, Ronald Reagan.
All right, we're vetting the President. All right, final question, and this is number 5. Who said this? There are things that you can do individually, though, to save energy. Making sure your tires are properly inflated. Simple things, but we could save all of that oil that they're talking about getting off of drilling, and if somebody was just inflating their tires and getting regular tune-ups?
Okay, so this is the 21st century version of Jimmy Carter's admonition to put on a sweater. That was Jimmy Carter's energy policy, and inflating your tires is Barack Obama's energy policy.
And he wanted a gradual increase in prices.
That's right. I tell you, if we use the hot air coming out of that White House, we could inflate a lot of tires and save a lot of gas.
All right, so now here's the point. If any conservative or Republican said these things and read Navy corpsman 5 times in a speech, what would the reaction be?
They're an idiot. I mean, conservatives haven't even said things like that, and they're stupid. Monica and I haven't said things like that, but because we're conservatives and we're women, we're stupid.
It's all about the ideology, right? So liberals take a look at the conservative ideology. We saw it this week with the arguments against Obamacare, that the left-wing legal analysts and politicians, it hadn't even dawned on them that Obamacare could even be vaguely unconstitutional. To them, the conservative ideology and mentality and philosophy is just stupid. So therefore, anybody who espouses it must be stupid also.
All right, we're making a point, because if this were a Republican candidate, this would be everywhere.
They'd be laughed
you
out
don't
of town.
see this anywhere else but here, because we're vetting the president.
And these are
thank you
small
for
little
helping us in a
mistakes.
fun
But
way.
think about all his policy errors that he's made. Those are really stupid mistakes. Those are serious mistakes. Those are costing us millions and billions of
You
dollars.
both won the $1 million.
Where's the washer and dryer set?
I think you
Well,
can get
since
that.
I'm winning
Where's
the
Anna?
Mega Millions tonight,
Oh, yeah.
I'll also
no.
take that.
Actually, I've got 20 tickets for tonight. We're going to get to that later.
By the way, did you hear that if you are a single winner tonight of Mega Millions, the amount of taxes that you pay on that would run the government for 15 minutes?
All right, we got to roll. Guys, good to see you both.
Thanks. You bet.
15 minutes, great.